Bang. All right, welcome back to bracket coverage. Big lot has happened since we last were on here, and a lot's gonna happen this weekend. I am sitting on pins and needles. I'm shaking, bro. I can't fucking wait, man. I cannot wait for this Sunday. Um, Conference championship weekend was amazing, an awesome time, and we're gonna get into all of that. But just a reminder, this is bracket coverage. I'm Danny Mez. I'm here with Ryan. Ryan, what have we missed in your life since we last met?
Uh, it's been a calm week and a half. I didn't even try avoiding Pro Bowl content, and I just didn't see a single thing about the Pro Bowl in the
Yeah,
entire over the entire weekend. I don't think there's anything more dead in all of the sports landscape than the
it's
NFL
bad.
Pro Bowl. And I like when I was getting into the NFL. Honestly, Pro Bowl highlights of those games where they had the two player coaches drafting the teams and they're playing out in Hawaii, like highlights of those games, like figuring out the players, the stars of the league. That was kind of what got me into the league, to be completely honest with you. At least like way more into it than I was initially. Um, so yeah, kind of sad note there, but who cares about the Pro Bowl? We got a big Super Bowl matchup coming up. I love me a
Yep.
rematch. I love me a Super Bowl rematch. And yeah, the conference championship games. We got one kind of expected result and one like wow. And I
Yeah.
think you could also say that for either game. You probably don't know which games I'm referring to. So, um, yeah,
So we're gonna start off in the AFC. Actually, no. We'll start off with the NFC because NFC was the earlier game. We'll do it like that, and I'll tell my NFC Championship game story. Um, so Eagles first Commanders 55-23. I was working that game, and then with about 5 minutes left in the fourth, I head down to like the basement level, where everything the operations go down at the link. And as the game ended, I went onto the field and I got to celebrate during the speeches and the ceremony for the NFC Championship trophy. I got to meet quite a few of the players. I met Jalen Carter, Darius Slay. I met AJ Brown. That's probably the biggest one I met. Got a cool picture with Calcaterra. Shout out Grant Calcaterra, best tight end in the league. He's my
Mustangs
goat.
legend.
Yep. Believe it or not, Calcaterra is the best tight end on the field this Sunday. Not third best like everyone thinks. He is the best tight end on the field.
I
Um,
might even correct you there. He might be the fourth best tight end on the field on Sunday.
well, who do you have over Grant Calcaterra?
Noah Gray, and then I'd probably go Calcaterra, Gray, Kelsey, Goddard.
No, no, no. I don't like it.
I'm
Um,
not even gonna lie. I'm pretty close to saying Noah Gray is better than Travis Kelsey. Like this guy's gotta retire, dude. I'm sorry.
this honestly, I don't know. If Kelsey loses this game, I don't know if he retires. If he wins, he could definitely retire.
If I three-peat, I'm
I'm out.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't have a
I'm
better
out of there.
ending than that.
You got to call it on that. It doesn't get better than that.
It does
It's
not.
only downhill for me
Yeah, really.
unless they flip. But I don't even think they'll three-peat. I'm just don't. And I do also, now that I got my NFC Championship game story out, um, do want to bring back up weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Feels like a century ago. We made our Super Bowl prediction.
uh, mine.
And
Mine was not great. I'll
they
say
both made
that.
playoffs. They both made the wild card game.
I think all of the teams that we had in our fields when we did the little bracket, I think they were all there. It's just, you know, the winners
Yeah,
and actual matchups did not go my way necessarily.
yeah. It'll be fun to rewatch that video. I think I'll do that later tonight. Rewatch that video and yeah, just check that out.
Check out bracket coverage on YouTube,
Yes, check it out on Spotify. Whatever you want to do,
Apple
just check it out.
Podcasts. I always forget to
Everything.
do that. I keep meaning to do that and make like a little graphic and stuff, and I just keep
Yeah,
forgetting.
you put it like right up here.
Yeah.
Voila. We're everywhere, wherever you look for
I do
us.
have our
We
ads
have,
above us for Twitter.
yeah. Check the Twitter. I'm trying to use that Twitter more. If anything, if anyone wants, I want to. I'll probably go play by play, for this Sunday Super Bowl. Um, Hopefully, I remember to do that. There's a good chance that I don't remember to do that, and I
Yeah.
get way too into it,
Yeah, no,
and I don't
honestly.
touch my phone all Sunday night,
100%.
which
The
is
phone is
that's
the phone is
probably what's gonna
the phone
happen.
is charging across the other room. It doesn't even
Yeah,
exist.
it's not. Yeah, I probably threw it at my TV 5 minutes into the game. What the fuck is my phone? That's what I expect this Sunday. But for the future, especially with basketball season, I can start doing that. I want to start doing that.
Agreed.
But back to what we said. You made the prediction of the Texans and the Packers meeting this year in the Super Bowl. That crashed and burned pretty early on. But I'll give you credit. They did both lose to the teams that are in the Super Bowl. So
Very true.
I'll 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 give you that. I'll cut you some slack with that prediction a little bit. But I do want to toot my own horn on my prediction because I had it off day one, off rip, off day zero. I predicted this to be the Super Bowl, and I predicted Eagles to win the Super Bowl over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I hope I'm as happy with that prediction next week as I am right now. But I'm pretty proud of myself. I hope you're proud of me, Ryan. I'm
That
proud of
was
myself.
yeah. I think definitely in hindsight, those are just the two best teams in the league.
Yeah.
I think coming into the season, you could have some questions about the Eagles' coaching and stuff like that. Vic had a stop with the Dolphins. I don't know why I said it like that. He had a stop with the Dolphins. He was in Denver for a little bit. So after his big year in Chicago, a little more under
Kind of
the radar.
flatlined.
Yeah, a little flattened out a little bit. And then I mean Kellen's been pretty renowned, but he was with the Chargers last year. They obviously were not good. Um, so yeah, kind of not not that they're questionable coaches. It's just I think as a group and in recent memory, the staff hires of the Eagles, like you know, when you look to projecting the team, it's not a shoe in that they were going to be the
Hmm.
best team in the league. I think on paper you could have said they were one of the better teams in the league coming in. So this stuff isn't too surprising. I was counting on big jumps from year two starting quarterbacks, and it did not happen. So, um,
You also could say for the Eagles too, maybe not necessarily the best team, not this good coming into the season. I don't think you could have predicted how good they are.
yeah,
Despite me having them make the Super Bowl, I had no idea that this team would be this good. I had no idea Zach Bond would be this good. I had no idea Quinion would be this good. I knew Quinion was gonna be good, not this good.
right.
I had no idea Cooper DeJean was gonna be that good. And like emergences like Nolan Smith, emergences like Josh Sweat, emergences like why am I blanking on? There's one more. There's one
Milton
more on
Williams,
defense.
my guy in the inside. He was on my breakout players list in the beginning of the year.
W. I'm thinking of one more, and I can't. I said Nolan Smith. Oh, N'Kobe Dean. N'Kobe
Oh
Dean.
yes, he was huge this
Uh,
year.
N'Kobe Dean took a huge jump, and I could not have even predicted the jump all those players took. And a lot of credit's got to go to Vic Fangio, but we'll get to that. Because we got to break down what happened in this Eagles Commanders game, 55-23. And there's not much to break down. They beat the brakes off of them.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
I think
Uh,
I want to say highest point total in the in any championship
yep,
game ever.
yeah,
They also tied a 1940 record with 7 rushing touchdowns.
nice.
And
Gotta love it.
I don't even. Are we even counting a game from the 40s? Let's be real.
Yeah, I would say like 5 yards in a cloud of dust kind of football, but it's actually like 70 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah,
Saquon and the
seriously.
Eagles took the lead. They were down 3-0 to start the game. And that's only because Commanders got the ball first. Because they took the lead back in one play and they did not let go of it again. Uh, Zach Bond with the peanut punch. That's kind of become a staple this postseason, and it's been incredibly effective. I would love to see that, but I'm going to get more into that later. Quinion with another interception, second interception of the postseason after having no interceptions at all during the regular season. And he was still great during the regular season. So this has been a big. We've seen a big leap from Quinion, even from regular season to now, because now instead of just getting pass deflections and stuff like that, he's getting turnovers, he's getting interceptions. That could be a huge development going into next week. 4 total turnovers for the Eagles defense. That's 1 interception, like I said, from Quinion, and 3 fumbles, 3 sacks, and 4 total tackle for losses. Um, and then Nolan Smith had like dagger is kind of more used in basketball, but that sack on fourth
Yeah.
down, that was the dagger. I saw this call from Fox Deportes, and they had the call on that play where they go, "Here lies Jaden Daniels."
That's
It,
really
it was
funny.
just, it was a great call. It was pretty funny. Um, that was the defense, and for the offense, the notes that I have is Jalen silences his doubters again. I feel like I say that over and over again throughout the season. People still doubt him for whatever reason, and people are going to doubt him coming into this. And I think he's just a phenomenal quarterback. I personally don't care as an Eagles fan. I think he's great. He went 20 for 28 for 246 yards and 4 total touchdowns. That's 1 pass touchdown and 3 rush touchdowns. And I'll get back to the 4 total rushing touchdowns thing when we get to the next game. Saquon had 122 yards and 3 touchdowns. AJ Brown had 3 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Dallas Goddard 7 catches, 98 yards, and the rookie Will Shipley just just having the time of his life out there. I was so happy watching that because I just love to see stuff. You love to see it. He had 4 rushes for 77 yards and a touchdown. And a little footnote that I'd like to throw in is Jake Elliott went 7 for 7 on extra points, but he did miss a 54-yard field goal in the second quarter. So take that how you will. Ryan, what did you see from this NFC champion?
I'm gonna go back to where you started on the defensive side of the ball, just extrapolating on how ridiculous Quinion Mitchell has been in the postseason, elevating his play from the end of the regular season, where he might have tapered off a little bit. Uh, in They've played 3 games, right? They were a wild card team. Yes, they were.
Yeah, it was Packers, Rams, Commanders.
Quinion Mitchell has been targeted 17 times. He has allowed 5 catches, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions for a passer rating of 0.0 when targeted in the postseason. So yeah, you're better off throwing it in the dirt than throwing it at Quinion Mitchell in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Um, the defense, you talk about the big time performances from guys that we touched on that really emerged onto the scene this year with Bond and Quinion and Dean, who was injured, but or like Jalen Carter's a known name, like he's a dominant force. In all of these games, there's been contributions from lesser guys that you kind of don't, you're not counting on to make a big play necessarily. Jordan Davis had a sack in the game. Good for him. He didn't get too much playing time against the Rams. But he's able to get to Jaden Daniels, get a sack. Nolan Smith has the Eagles' postseason sack record already, and he still has a game to go. Oren Burks, who I will touch on later as well, has been really good since the start of the postseason, and it couldn't be better timing with the Dean injury. And the big story of the game, 28 points off turnovers, and if you include a turnover on fourth down, they had 35 points off turnovers. You're never going to lose a game doing that. And if you do, you need to be blasted into the sun if you lose a football game scoring 28 points off turnovers. Um, this was kind of a no contest. There was a couple unfortunate points for Washington, mainly fumbles on kickoffs. Like Jaden just doesn't even get a chance to touch the ball. Um, Touching on the Eagles' offense, the ground game, it's kind of been more of the same of what we've seen throughout the Eagles in the postseason. Like you said, it's not 5 yards in a cloud of dust. It's 70 yards, and the next play I'm going to get 2 yards and 3 yards, and then I'll get a 6 yard completion on third down, and then I'll rip a 60-yard run the next play. Like it's not it's not chunks and chunks and chunks. It's
yeah.
the occasional big play that's super meaningful, and it opens everything else up. Um, Saquon 15 carries in this game honestly is probably a really good sign. Heading into the Super Bowl, you get the extended time off. Because honestly, a lot of that Rams game looked like he was beaten up, and it looked like they didn't really
Yeah.
want to give him the ball too much early in this game either. I think he had like 6 carries at halftime. Um, so yeah, management of Saquon Barkley super important. Say what you want about all the record talk and whatnot, and giving him the ball and stuff like that. That it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant now. He will be full go for the Super Bowl. And AJ Brown rising to the occasion. Uh, really nice to see heading into the big game. He
Yeah.
feels like a
1K always open.
he feels like a walking 6 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown, by the way. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
I've ever seen anybody with that exact same stat line more in my life than A.J. Brown,
Yeah.
and he's been in the league for 6 years. You can fact check me on that. I think the Super Bowl 2 years ago, he had the same stat line. I think he had the exact same stat line at the end of the regular season. I have no idea. It's really funny. Shout out A.J. Brown. Big game. You mentioned Dallas Goedert. 7 catches, 85 yards. I will also talk about this a little bit later when we get to actually previewing the Super Bowl. Kellen Moore has been in his bag. He's so deep in the bag that he's running jet sweeps to Dallas Goedert to the weak side of the field.
Yeah.
Like he is
It's sick.
it
I
is
love it.
it is efficiency every single play. He's getting positive plays every single play. You talk about it with Jalen in the conversation in these postseason games, these big moments. Do not have a detrimental play. Do not make a detrimental play. Stay on schedule. Taking a sack is not staying on schedule necessarily, but it's a lot better than a turnover
Yeah.
or fumble recovery touchdown. That Super Bowl 2 years ago was a big swing. Um, I will touch on the Commanders. This is just an unreal season. Jaden Daniels was unbelievable. No blame can go on him in this game. I also don't think you can really say anything about coaching either in this game. Dan Quinn just really didn't have too much of an opportunity. That first drive, they go down for the field goal. I'm surprised they didn't go for the touchdown. It was like 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. They kicked the field goal like pretty far down there. They have some decent players. They still have a lot of money. Adam Peters, the GM, new GM, a lot to work with. He completely flipped the team. Unreal season. Jaden Daniels will be a face of the league for years to come. And yeah, I think this game kind of just encapsulated the Eagles' season, in my opinion.
Yeah. The defense. It's just the defense. For me, the offense did its job, but the defense is the catalyst for it. The defense is going to make the big play to set up, the knockout punch. It's rare you're going to see, like, this isn't a defense that gets points. You're not going to see the defense. You're rarely going to see the defense get a scoop and score or a pick six or anything like that. But they'll get a big turnover and a big return to set up, you know. So Jalen and the offense can set up in the Commander's red zone or something like that. And then, or they get down at the 1 and then Frankie Louvu decides to jump like 5 times.
That was actually
Um,
hilarious. I like.
that
I
that
know.
was
I
insane.
know Eagles fans and all those other speculative people want to call Luvu a dirty player. And yeah, he's jumping into your quarterback's head, but him doing that like 3 times in a row was actually hilarious.
Is yeah.
Um, so shout out to Frankie Louvu for that. Another note I wanted to
Not a shout
make.
out to Frankie Louvu for
I don't
that.
know. He's a pretty fun player in my opinion. He's kind of what the modern day linebacker is coming to be with this hybrid
I
pass
don't
rush.
dislike Frankie Louvu.
That's
I
fair.
don't I don't have any like grievances towards him. I, I don't. It's football. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. And he gets made fun of. I don't think he minds. He was probably having some fun
Yeah.
too. He seems like a genuinely like cool guy, and that I don't care if anyone thinks he's a dirty player. If it's just a cool guy, then
uh,
I
just
don't care.
just the last note I want to make how good the defense has been. I'm curious to what the NFL record for forced fumbles in a postseason is because I think the Eagles have to be really close to it.
Yeah, at this point, the turnover differential in these playoffs have been crazy.
Or
So I'm
they gotta
gonna,
be like +8 at least in 3 games.
yeah, I think it's more than that
It's
actually.
probably like +10. What do they have like 7 forced fumbles? They might even more. I should have done that research on my own accord, but it just hit me now. Like Bond is getting a forced fumble every game. Like,
Ooh, what I'm looking at individual players. Von Miller, of course. And that was
oh
what a
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Um, okay. Safari's not really working with me on what I'm looking for here. The 49ers, apparently. 2024 49ers? Is that true?
I
I
just would have no recollection of if it would.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't
It's
even.
kind of, but most career playoff forced fumbles. Ray Lewis is one I'm seeing on Pro Football Reference. Ray Lewis had 6. I don't know, but we're not going to spend too much time
Yeah,
on because that's
it was
not.
just an interesting point. I actually. I mean, if they force a fumble or two in the Super Bowl, you got to think someone's going to be talking about that because
Yeah,
that is an
surely.
impressive stat.
Yeah.
Whatever their turnover differential too, insanely high.
Even Zach Bond individually, like
Oh
if he
yeah,
could, because he's forced a good amount of turnovers.
100%.
Um, Shifting gears out west to the AFC at Arrowhead. The Chiefs beat the Bills in the AFC Championship. Blah blah blah. Stop me when you've heard this one. It's the same thing every time. Mahomes went 18 for 26 for 245 yards and 3 touchdowns, one pass and 2 rush touchdowns. Were those 3 touchdowns? So let's break this down. Jalen had 4 total touchdowns, and only one of them were passing touchdowns. He's not a quarterback. He's a running back. The criticism, everything. I've seen it on Twitter, on X. I've seen it on X. And Mahomes, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback other than maybe Tom Brady of all time, looking to three-peat. He only has the AFC Championship, and he's not really getting flamed for it. So I'm just throwing that out there, pointing out some inconsistencies with the criticism amongst the media. But other than Mahomes, there's Xavier Worthy who had 101 6 catches and a touchdown. What I want to point out is 122 yards after catch for Xavier Worthy, as per the real app. I don't know how he has 122 yards after catch if he only had 101 receiving yards. But if that's true that he had over 100 yards after catch in that game, that's interesting. And I know no team in the league does these behind the line of scrimmage passes more than the Chiefs, but again, inconsistencies. Mahomes does not get criticized for the yards after catch, but Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, rookies by the way, I saw them get criticized. I saw them get crucified on Twitter all year because their receivers, their running backs have an insane amount of yards after catch. Another thing. Sorry if I'm hating. I'm just pointing
Hey,
out
wait. Let me
inconsistencies.
stop you real quick. Cliff
Yeah.
Kingsbury runs a killer screen game. Killer.
Who did Kingsbury sign with? Did he sign with anybody yet?
Washington. Oh
What?
no, not as a head
Oh,
coach. Not as a head coach. No.
for because he is he could sign a contract this
I
offseason,
think
right?
people were saying Saints maybe, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
If I'm Kingsbury, I want to build a rapport with Daniels and wait a
Yeah.
little bit.
I do agree with that. And, it's interesting. Saints have a little situation going on
Yeah,
there.
weird. Also, I'm gonna interrupt you one more time. While you were
Yeah.
talking, I was trying to fix I was trying to fix my scene up on here, and I accidentally clicked on your thing. So for like half a second in the video, it's gonna pan to just your entire face on the screen.
Thanks, guys. Here it is. Voila.
Uh,
Oh, side note about the NFC Championship game. My favorite celebration of the year. Actually, it's close. There's been a lot of great Eagle celebrations all
Quinion
season.
mocking Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, the oh my god,
Elite
chef's
Selly. It is an
kiss,
elite Selly, I can't
chef's
lie.
kiss. It was awesome. I loved it. Um, that's gonna be a fun matchup in the next coming years. Quinion and Terry,
Oh yeah.
uh, absolute cinema. I love it. But back to the AFC. I'm done. I'm done shitting on Mahomes. That's it. I hate. I'm sorry if I sound like a hater. I hate to hate on people. I'm just pointing. I'm like I said.
I'm
I'm just
about
trying
to
to point
like
out inconsistencies.
when I get to talking, I'm about to undo everything you just said.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. We'll argue. It's fine. I did want to mention Pacheco is still not back. He's
Yeah.
back playing, but he's not Isaiah Pacheco we've seen for the last 2 years. But Kareem Hunt had 70 yards on 17 carries and a touchdown. It's not really bad. Um, Juju Smith-Schuster had 2 catches for 60 yards. I don't know why I put that in my notes. Enjoy that
Shout
stat
out
if you
John
want.
Smith.
What?
That's his name.
John Smith?
Yes, I swear to God.
John Smith-Schuster.
I swear to God.
Where does Juju come?
John, I guess. I have no idea.
Was that like just a nickname that he got?
I
And he was like,
suppose. It sounds a whole lot cooler than John Smith. I'd assume he went to BYU or Utah or something.
yeah, John Smith-Schuster.
Isn't that literally what that Key and Peele skit is? Where they do
Yeah,
the they do the
yeah.
player names in the college.
Dude, that's pretty fun. But just throwing this out there too. 37 yards after catch for Juju Smith-Schuster. Fun fact. Um,
He had a pretty good Super Bowl 2 years ago.
he he did. Yeah, he did. We're gonna get to that soon. The Chiefs defense had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, but no recovery. That's been an interesting thing, in my opinion. And in 2 postseason games, they've forced 2 turnovers versus Eagles, and their I think turnover differential of something like 8. Like it's a lot. There's a huge differential in the positive. Jalen hasn't turned the ball over, and I can't remember any fumbles or anything off the top of my head of the Eagles giving it up. But that was my breakdown of the AFC Championship, and tough go for the Bills. Tough. It's
It's
tough.
just
That's all.
like
That's all I can say.
they
It's
they're
unfortunate.
they're the definition of we've seen this before.
Yeah,
It's
we've
just
played these games before.
it's really uncanny at this point. It's just I just don't see them doing anything ever to undo it. It's so strange. The first quarter, I I kept saying endlessly that it looked like he was playing like he did when he was a rookie. He just bail out of the pocket and throw it 60 yards across his body. Um, yeah, Josh Allen had a really strange start to the game. He still had a fine game overall. Also, 3 fumbles, and he didn't lose any of them. That first one he recovered, he's like getting bear hugged, and he just sticks one hand to the ground and sucks it back up. That was ridiculous. Um, yeah. So you started off grilling Mahomes. Good good source. We love next gen stats around here, and
True.
everywhere. Patrick Mahomes had one of the most efficient games of his career against Buffalo. He had a plus 21.5 EPA for the game. Um, and it was his top 3 games by drop pack EPA have been the last 4 games of the season for the Chiefs. So um, he had
That
a
sounds like Mahomes.
he had a
Pick it up right at the end.
64.7% success rate dropping back to pass. Um, he also has had like 3 design runs his entire career, I think I read somewhere, and one of them was in this game, and it was a touchdown. Um, he does what he needs to do scrambling. No one is calling him running back ever. It will not
Yeah,
happen. Um, I think the thing with him running is the whole unnecessary roughness or personal foul or roughing the passer and stuff like that. So that's an interesting conversation, but it's a different one. Uh, the the Bills just honestly didn't provide that much resistance. Like, did Mahomes do anything spectacular? No, but he didn't have to. Um,
yeah,
he was just consistently good, consistently efficient. They've done what they've done. They did what they've done the whole season on the ground, like 3.5 yards a carry. You make it maybe third and manageable. And hell, even if it's like third and 11, Mahomes and will pull a play out and get you a first down. Xavier Worthy is a really fun player. I almost wish they used him more as an actual receiver because their actual receivers are not very good.
Yeah.
um, he
What
yeah.
about John Smith, bro? What about John Smith?
I mean, like he's fine, I guess. I don't know. He's a fine piece, like he was a couple years ago. Um, Kelsey's an extra offensive lineman. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, Xavier Worthy's a fun player. Hollywood Brown really looked like Rashee Rice. The first couple plays of the game, I think he was working out of the slot. They ran some advantage like RPO slants over the middle, and I was like, wait, is that Rashee Rice? Because he's got like he got like a big head of hair, which I'm not used to with Marquise Brown. He had 3 catches for 35 yards. Maybe he plays a factor in the Super Bowl. And like I did with the last game, I'll touch on the Bills a little bit. James Cook averaged like 8 yards a touch in this game, and he was not on the field for the final 6 plays of that Bills drive.
Damn.
I just don't
Yeah.
really know how you do that. And they were still running the ball too, by the way. Really strange. Mac Hollins doesn't wear shoes, but he wears cleats and he scores touchdowns in AFC championships, I guess. That was a super timely play. But I'd be amiss to say that they need more weapons. I mean, this is like pathetic looking at, to be honest. Shakir 6 for 46. It's kind of what you expect from Khalil Shakir, but you're not really going to get much better than that. Amari Cooper 4 for 33. Dalton Kincaid 2 for 13, and the infamous drop on the 4th and 5 that Allen
Yeah.
sent to Jupiter, and it falls softly out of the hands of Kincaid. Keon Coleman, that was the big draft story. The Bills let the Chiefs get Worthy. The Bills elect to go with Keon Coleman. He has 1 catch for 12 yards. And Curtis Samuel had a touchdown. But honestly, that's not the big story to me for this game. Uh, Underrated storyline, I think for not underrated for people who are paying attention. Christian Benford got injured in like the first like 10 minutes of the game, and Kyer Elam had to play. He was awful, like unbelievably bad. I think I could have ran a route on him and gotten yards. Like it was tragic. It was tragically bad. Um, the Bills.
I would pay for you. I would pay to watch you run routes in an AFC Championship game. I
That
would.
that
I
would
would
be a
love
thing.
it.
Nico Remigio, that dude is kind of goated. Returning punts for the Chiefs. Maybe they let him run a route at some point. But yeah, that's a big storyline for me, to be honest. Kyer Elam was brutal for the Bills. You can say what you want about the 4th down stop. I'm iffy on that. I think he got it, but like this stuff goes both ways. You also had the Fail Mary like 2.0 catch at the goal line, kinda. I think that should just be incomplete. But I can kind of see the arguments from the refs on both sides. I just think nothing's a conspiracy. I think people just need to grasp at straws for this stuff because they're miserable human beings. I'm excited for the rematch. The Bills just kind of feel stuck in the mud to me. I don't know what they do to get over the hump, and the hump is the Chiefs.
Yeah, and then it's the same as the Ravens. They're like a slightly better like Ravens as far as like the last couple of years, where it's like Lamar Jackson needs to get over this hump. That's Josh Allen, and then Josh Allen's like, "Hey, you got to get over this hump, Patrick Mahomes," and it's just this never-ending
It feels like
cycle.
Lamar Jackson like forgets that he's the best quarterback in the league the whole year as soon as he gets into the playoffs.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
odd.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Um, yeah,
Those are the conference championship games. We
yeah.
took a minute to get through those, but it's all good because it was fun. I had a fun time. But now it's time to go back. We're gonna take it back.
It's rewind
Uh,
time.
it's a rewind time. Yeah, take it back to a day I don't want to talk about, but it would be wrong for us to not bring up. Super Bowl 57, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35. Eagles were winning by how many points, Ryan? At halftime?
10.
What's Mahomes' thing?
Winning
Down
games
by
when he's
10?
down by 10.
24-14 at halftime, the Eagles were up. Eagles led with time of possession. They had the ball for 35 minutes and 47 seconds. and they had 25 first downs versus the Chiefs, who had 25 first down. Or 21 first down. I'm sorry. English. Um, Eagles went 11 for 18 on third down, and Chiefs went 4 for 8. They only saw 8 third downs in that Super Bowl for whoever wants to do whatever with that
Yeah, that
information.
was. I have a couple. Man, the Eagles' defense was pretty bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
I don't think we'll see a lot of that this year.
Yeah.
Um, Jalen Hurts fumble that got the scoop that led to the scoop and score. That was it. That is what changed the game. That's along with some people will argue things like Bradbury and whatever. I'm not here for that. The fumble is what changed the outlook of that game, really. Um, because it goes completely the other way. It's hard to overcome that when neither team is really turning the ball over. You give it up like that. That's a huge break for the Chiefs, and just like that in a shootout, that is the straw that'll break the camel's back. For rushing yards, the Chiefs had 158 versus Eagles had 115. Um, Chiefs running game just looked a lot better than the Eagles did. I don't know how much the running game we'll see this year, but that's interesting. I don't think it'll look like that this year because of some notable pickups. Uh, Pass yards, Chiefs 182 to Eagles 302. I think I think we'll see the inverse of both of those this year.
Yeah, most
Except I
likely.
do think Eagles will still pass the ball more than people
Oh yeah.
anticipate. I think people are expecting them to just like Saquon the record, whatever, just pound the rock. And I don't know if necessarily I know Kellen Moore loves to air out the ball, and I'm sure he's been itching for it all postseason. So, I'm not in that locker room, so I have no idea what thinking of unleashing this next Sunday. But it'll be interesting to see. Chiefs defense had 2 sacks, fumble recovery that was returned for a touchdown, and 5 tackles for loss. Nick Bolton had that scoop and score touchdown. Mahomes went 21 for 27 with 182 yards and 3 pass touchdowns. Um, he also had 44 rush yards too. You talked about how he does just enough scrambling. That's a perfect
All the
example for it.
jokes about him getting juiced up at halftime because of his ankle or whatever it was, and then him having that
He,
scramble, those were
yep,
pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
those iconic Super Bowl moment in recent history. Kelsey, before his famous "You got to fight for your right to party" speech at the end of this Super Bowl, he had 6 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. Pacheco 76 yards and a touchdown. Uh, you know, I don't know if we'll see that. Yeah, with Pacheco, I mean it's been a tough year with the injury and everything. Him coming back. Got to question whether or not you'll see. Probably won't see this kind of performance out of him this Super Bowl, but maybe in the future, this offseason he can get right. And then on to the Eagles performers in that Super Bowl 2 years ago. Jalen Hurts went 27 for 38 for 304 yards and a pass touchdown. He had 70 rush yards and 3 rush touchdowns. Um, AJ Brown had 6 catches for 96 yards and a
Would you
touchdown.
look at that? Would you look
How
at
about
that?
that? What a coincidence. So, if you're gonna bet on anything this Super Bowl, I would say over on AJ Brown receiving yards, alternative 95.5. I'd take that all day.
100%.
Um, Devonta Smith had 7 catches for 100 yards. Dallas Goddard had 6 catches for 60 yards. And I have to include Jake Elliott, 2 for 2 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra. That is, the basic rundown of what that Super Bowl was. And yeah, Ryan, I'm excited to hear your analysis 2 years later.
I will say, unfortunately, this ain't your mama's Jake Elliott anymore. Or however that
Yeah.
saying goes. They they do get to play in a dome again, which is good. Hopefully,
Yeah.
because I will say, I think I don't think people forget, but the turf in that Super Bowl two
Oh,
years ago, brutal stuff. The field was
it's brutal.
awful. I don't think it was
Yeah.
turf. The field was terrible. I think the
The Sod
groundskeeper
Father.
actually resigned or something
Yeah, the Sod
after that.
Father, I think.
Yeah, it was bad. Um,
I also, for reference, yes, that is a great point to bring up. And I don't want to come off like that's an excuse at all because I am trying to keep this like my mindset all week is like no excuses. You win the Super Bowl or you don't.
right.
Furent had balls, she'd be your uncle, but she doesn't, so she isn't. I like I can't do if buts or maybes. Eagles need to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Continue. Floor is yours.
So you touched on some good things that I wanted to. A big note for me was the Chiefs had timely defensive plays. They had some tackles for loss. They had the sacks. They had the forced fumble and the fumble recovery. I actually don't know if it was really forced. I think Jalen kind of just dropped the ball. But
Yeah.
the Eagles in this game, they had 0 sacks and 1 tackle for loss. That's like kind of hard to do. And I think this was the year they had like 6 or 7 players with like 8 sacks or whatever it was, or like 5 players with 8+ sacks. I think that's what the
Shout out
number was.
Hassan Reddick, Temple legend.
Yeah, like the pass rush was elite that year, and they did absolutely nothing. They got no penetration as well. Linebackers were kind of questionable. I don't think we will see that emulated in this game this year at all. But super important to note. Also, a big note for me. Obviously, we hit on the AJ Brown 6 for 96 in the score. The 3 running backs that the Eagles ran in that game 2 years ago combined for 17 carries and 45 yards. Really bad. Really, really bad. Um, Jalen probably would have been unanimous Super Bowl MVP had the Eagles won. I don't think that really would have been a question. Devontae Smith had a big game. He was destroying the Chiefs zone the whole game.
Yeah.
Um, and I think other than that, the huge thing for the Chiefs, they won majority phases of the game. They were even enough on offense, sure, but their defense easily won them the game, and their special teams absolutely won them the game. With the punt return, sets up a Kadarius, or it might have set up a Sky Moore touchdown, or I don't know which way it went, but Tony and Moore ran those little whip routes for the touchdowns. One of those was set up by the punt return by Kadarius Toney. And then yeah, you have mentioned the fumble recovery touchdown. Mahomes didn't do a ton in this game, but guess what? It's Patrick Mahomes. He does what he needs to do, and he counts
Yeah.
for 3 touchdowns. And Ricky Pacheco was big. So they still have these teams still have a lot of players on the team. And you know what the Chiefs know how to do? They know how to win. There's a lot of overlapping players for both teams. Obviously, you get Mahomes, you get Pacheco, you get Kelsey. You get some of the role player guys. Juju Smith back on the team. And Nick Bolton, Leo Chanel was a rookie. Trent McDuffie was a rookie. You get Chris Jones, Justin Reed. And then the Eagles, you still have, your main weapons on offense, most of the offensive line. Darius Slay, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back on the team. You had a rookie Jordan Davis. And Brandon Graham. Pretty important player, pretty important veteran. I think he'll go. I don't know how much he'll play, but
Yeah.
the veteran leadership will be big. Obviously, the strip sack against Brady in the Super Bowl.
Iconic.
Huge play. That was like the only defensive play either of those teams made the entire game in that one. You don't need too many defensive plays. You just maybe need one, and the Eagles didn't even have one of those 2 years ago. So, yeah, really good Super Bowl. Other than everyone slipping all over the field, that was a really, really entertaining game.
It was great. Yeah, and I will say, coming into this Super Bowl, talking about the rushing yards disparity, of course, Saquon is a part of the Eagles this year, so I'd be shocked if he had a bad game or if Eagles weren't successful at all running the ball. Like,
He's never played the Chiefs in his career. Fun fact.
ooh, interesting. I don't know who that benefits more though.
Nobody. It
I think
doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I don't know. There's something to no, not really. Not with running backs. That's more with quarterbacks.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree with what you were gonna say, but I actually
yeah.
don't think it matters literally at all.
Yeah, not with I don't think with a running.
Yeah.
But Saquon is 30 yards short of Terrell Davis's all-time rushing record, which is regular season plus playoffs. It is his birthday this Sunday, and
Cooper
it's someone
DeJean.
else's birthday.
Cooper
There
DeJean.
you go, Cooper DeJean, and that's exciting. So happy
That is
birthday
fun.
to Coop. Happy
That is
birthday
super
to
fun.
Saquon. Um, Hopefully they get to celebrate, a little extra for this birthday. That'd be
Also,
awesome.
you mentioned Terrell Davis's record. He needs 240 scrimmage yards for 3,000 on the season, which has never happened before. So if you're interested in a Saquon parlay and you just want
Ooh,
to go crazy, hit that alternate rushing and receiving yards for 240 plus. Um,
wow. I'll tell you right now, though, that's not gonna happen.
no, I, I
That
don't
is
I don't
not
think so
gonna
either. But
happen.
maybe he gets a big screen and maybe he rips a long run and oh you
I mean,
blink and he's
yeah.
at 200
Listen, I would
scrimmage
love to
yards.
see it, and you could never rule it out with this team, with this running back. With You can't rule it out. I'm not gonna say
Uh,
never,
I was just
but I'll
throwing
tell
it
you,
out there.
if
Fun
you are
stat.
that
Fun
much of a
stat.
gambler,
Oh
you
man,
go for it because that the payout would probably be pretty crazy.
don't mind me opening
Um,
FanDuel right now.
this guy.
I don't even
Um,
know if you can make a line that high.
yeah, I don't know. That'd be a crazy alternative, but I'm intrigued to see, with this tough run defense that the Chiefs have and the run heavy offense we've seen with the Eagles, will we see some play action? Maybe get the linebackers, maybe get the defense in general to bite on the run game and try to beat them over the top, with AJ and Smitty or Jahan Dotson.
You can only go to 175. Kind of
Hey,
pathetic.
yeah, they got to lock in, get a higher line. Clearly, they don't know. They don't know ball.
I was gonna say usually if they see records like that, the sports books jump all over it.
Yeah, true.
240 is like that's a lot. Like
240 is that's next level. That'd be insane. They'd have to name the Super Bowl MVP trophy after.
he did have like what 300 scrimmage yards against the Rams this year, so he has done it
Yeah, he's done it, but in a Super Bowl, I mean, dude,
against the Chiefs defense.
that's
Yeah, I mean,
that's they'd put you in the Hall of Fame before you even retire. They would send the gold jacket to Philly already. It'd be back before they're back from. Um, but anyways, yeah, maybe some play action. Take the top off of the defense. I wonder if we'll see any like cover zero out of the Chiefs. Try like indefinite run situations. Of course, not like tush push. Like we know what we're gonna see on the tush push. But if there's like a 3rd and 3, will we see cover zero or it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs play that. Whether they overcommit to the run or because on the edges you have Smitty and AJ. You got to keep those, and it's hard to keep track of all three of them or all four of them because Jalen could take it himself or on third downs he likes to give it to Goddard, stuff like that. Kellen Moore's very creative. We've seen a lot of screenplays. You talk about the jet sweep with Goddard. There's a lot of different options that Kellen Moore has. Um, so it all comes down to will Jalen Sirianni, Kellen Moore, the three of them together, will they be conservative, or will they be aggressive? Will they try to get those chunk plays, or will they do that methodical chess match kind of game, which they might need to do to win against a guy like Andy Reid and Spagnuolo? Um, and then the O line for the Birds really is something to pay attention to because they've been incredible. And start off by giving them credit; they've been amazing. With that being said, Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson are both dealing with some minor injuries, it looks like. And there's even talk of will Tyler Steen see the field. That is the backup center. He'll probably fill in for Jurgens or Dickerson if either of them needs to come out. So, how will they try to? Will the Chiefs defense try to attack that? How will the O line cope with these injuries? Yeah, not sure yet. It's not. Won't really know for sure until Sunday. Everyone's banged up at point in the year. So for these reasons, for me, it's kind of a tough game to predict score wise. Because like I said, these long methodical drives that we see from these offenses, from these coaches, it could be very much about clock management more than anything. I think it'll be a chess match kind of Super Bowl. I don't think it'll be the big, flashy, high scoring one that we saw 2 years ago. Um, But again, or they could come out fully aggressive and say, "Hey, Jalen, air it out." They've seen a lot of Saquon. They're expecting Saquon. Find AJ going running a streak route down the left side, just like he did on 4th and 5 last or 2 weeks ago. They could do that. Um, so that is the first part of my breakdown. I have a lot to go over for the Super Bowl, but just off of what I said, or any other thoughts you want to chime in with, Ron, just handing it to you real quick.
The dog has been barking, and I just remembered I had a mute button on my mic, so I've just been holding that down for the last like 3 minutes. Um, she's still going. Good God. Uh, we're starting with the Eagles' offense versus the Chiefs' defense. Running joke of the pod so far. I would just get AJ Brown 6 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, you have to.
um, I getting a little more in depth into the matchups. The Chiefs have been running out Najee Johnson at outside corner a lot this year. They've been running Chamari Connor in the slot and McDuffie on the outside. Um, I think AJ Brown on McDuffie, the size mismatch is like too significant. I don't know if Reed would be willing to do that. As good as McDuffie is, I think he makes a lot more sense on Devontae Smith, who's had very good games against the Chiefs in his career.
Hmm.
I would look to throw at Najee Johnson or put that man in as many predicaments as possible. Flood his side of the field and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, make him make a decision or make him make a play with one of your two receivers, because I think you have a clear advantage there. The Chiefs have a lot of pieces to mix up. Um, I was a big Jaden Hicks guy coming into the year. I can't believe he fell to the 4th round. He's seen a little bit of an increase in time in the postseason. I think he had a drop pick in the Bills game in the beginning of the like early in the first quarter. Um, move him around, get him involved. They still have Justin Reed, who was on the team. I think Brian Cook was a rookie in the Eagles Super Bowl 2 years ago as well. He's been starting back there as well. Um, but yeah, that's the big thing for me. Any corner that isn't Trent McDuffie, I'm kind of looking at how can you take advantage of
yeah,
him. Their linebackers are really good. Nick Bolton, Leo Chanel was a rookie in that Super Bowl as well, and Drew Tranquill, who just kind of feels like a Chiefs player, a Steve Spagnuolo guy. Um, they mix it up a lot with those guys, who you would assume would be very sound versus the run game, and that's where that interior of the Chiefs or the interior of the Eagles offensive line really comes into play. Those injuries are big. I think when Jurgens was out and you saw Landon move to center, I think that put a lot of new pressure on him. It's a lot of different angles you're working with, a lot of different assignments. And then we saw Landon get hurt, and then Jurgens, a warrior, comes into the game and plays center. Um, it also might speak to the um, lack of trust in the depth on the Eagles' offensive line. I forgot Tyler Steen was a third-round pick.
yeah,
I completely forgot. Um, and they didn't want to try to trot anyone else out there. They suited up Jurgens and sent him out there. So that's a big time story, especially with Chris Jones in the middle. You've talked about Carter Loftus in the playoffs.
hmm,
They get him and Dana back again. Um, I trust Lane and Mailata. I don't think that's really going to be a problem. But Chris
yeah.
Jones in the problem could be a problem or could be a matchup nightmare for anybody in the league at any given night. And he shows up to play in those big games. So yeah, with Spagnuolo's game plan, he usually schemes it up well for different teams. Um, I don't know if you really need to sell out like other teams typically do against a run. I just think your linebackers are that solid. Um,
I, I agree.
I think I have questions about their corners outside of Trent McDuffie. I think if you play the game on the perimeter, or if the Eagles are able to play the game on the perimeter, I think I'd give them an advantage, especially with how athletic Lane and Mailata are. You run some of those sweeps. Like Jalen ran that sweep against was it the Rams, and Mailata had no one to block. He's like 30 yards down the field and he has no one to block. Um, yeah, so I'd say if I'm the Eagles, if I'm Kellen Moore, who's done a very good job in this postseason mixing it up, he's been getting to the edge with Dallas Goddard on sweeps. He's been running,
Yeah,
those flare those sweep screens to Goddard as well. Play the game on the perimeter. I think you have an advantage. Get away from the beef of the Chiefs' defense, which runs through the middle. And yeah, I echo your sentiment about the Eagles' offensive line. That's a pretty big thing
it's
to take
something to
advantage.
watch.
Yeah.
It's something to watch because this team is known and built around this. Of course, you have the core pieces you build around all that. Every team in the league if you want to succeed, needs to be built around the O line, and that matters. And if your O line is banged up coming into a Super Bowl, it's definitely going to raise some eyebrows. It was something I brought up with the Commanders 2 weeks ago. You have an injured starting guard. That's significant.
Yeah.
Um, so no matter if you're the best O line in the league or middle of the pack, if a guy goes down, that's going to hurt you.
Yeah, I did
Um,
have an important note about the Chiefs' offensive line as well. Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
when we are you breaking down Chiefs' offense versus Eagles' defense next or what?
A little bit. I'm kind of just going back and forth between potential weapons and who we might see.
All right, so I'll start off the we'll flip it then. I'll start off the matchup with the Chiefs offense versus the Eagles defense. Big note for me in this game is what the Chiefs do on their offensive line with their tackle situation. It's not necessarily injuries. It's just I don't want to be harsh and say lack of talent, but they're not up to snuff. I'll say that. They've moved Joe Tooney to left tackle for the postseason, and he's done a fine job. But with the Eagles got beef everywhere. It's really kind of pick your poison. Do you want a guard for the Chiefs who's been a backup the whole season coming into the playoffs, matching up with a Jalen Carter, with a Jordan Davis, with a Milton Williams, with a Moro Jomo who can get after it in the pass rush game, or do you bite the bullet and just try to have like a DJ Humphreys or a Jawan Taylor, push out those edge rushers and work the quick intermediate game, the short drop back game with Mahomes. It's an interesting, I don't think people know where Tooney's going to play. He's a super important piece. Maybe they move him around on specific plays. I don't really know. He is that good of an offensive lineman. I think he could do it. Um, the running game, I just can't count on the Chiefs' running game for anything.
Yeah.
You saw a little glimmer of hope that they were going to develop it with Pacheco, and then he gets injured 2 weeks into the season, and they just haven't been able to get back on track. Kareem Hunt has been steady, but he's been steady for 3.5 yards a carry, which does not really get it done when you're trying to stay ahead of the sticks and consistently move the ball, which the Chiefs can do. Don't get me wrong. Mahomes fills in for the lack of efficiency on the ground game. But playing ball control, especially against an elite defense like the Eagles, that could prove difficult if you can't even run the ball for 100 yards or 90 yards. Just supplementary running yards are super important. Eagles weren't able to get that 2 years ago. Um, and then the receiver matchup versus the Eagles DBs, I just don't see anywhere one on one where the Chiefs win. Uh, Xavier Worthy wins with speed. Everywhere else, the matchup itself, in a vacuum, I'm taking an Eagles secondary player every time. Um, and Kelsey work in the middle will be super important in the zones. See what Vic does. You're down a good coverage guy in N'Kobe Dean. Um,
I mean, Zach Bond could
Bond
probably.
Bond can definitely hang. Um, it's just Kelsey shows up for the huge games when they really need him, and when you
Yeah.
don't really have an advantage on the outside at all, it's definitely important to keep an eye on Kelsey. Um, Mahomes is Mahomes. You don't need to
Yeah. We
rehash.
know what to expect of Mahomes. He's
Yeah,
gonna do what needs to be done. His part. Um, for me, it's going to be interesting to see how Xavier Worthy is going to be used. I'm sure they'll mix and match him. You'll see him on screens. You'll see him on runs. You'll see him with deep balls. You'll see him do the jet sweep. You'll see him used in many different ways.
his over on rushing
And
yards is a lock. It's a
oh yeah,
lock. It's a
yeah,
lock.
yep,
It's probably like 9.5 yards. It's an easy lock.
yeah. Trust me. Xavier Worthy, or not Xavier Worthy. Chiefs in general, they pass behind the line of scrimmage a lot. And Eagles are great with tackles for loss this year. They can sniff out those passes behind the line of scrimmage. Seen Cooper DeJean do it a lot.
Yeah.
The linebackers talked about how they're great. CJ Gardner Johnson. I would expect some blitzes from Vic Fangio, scattered throughout the game. Uh, Vic Fangio, a guy who has seen a lot of Mahomes. He's 0-7 against Mahomes, while with the Broncos for a few years as head coach and as defense coordinator of the Dolphins. Most recently, losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs last season. I think that was a wild round.
Oh, you know what just hit me
So,
actually? Another one-on-one matchup to look at. If I'm the Eagles and Vic Fangio, I think I'm lining up Nolan Smith versus Jawan Taylor every single play and seeing how early he jumps and how far offside he is. Because Jawan Taylor cannot keep up with Nolan Smith. I don't think anyone in the league
yeah.
can keep up with Nolan Smith. But Jawan Taylor's been the talk of the town on the Chiefs ever since
Mhm.
that season opener a few years ago against the Lions when he signed with the Chiefs in the offseason. And that whole offsides things, the whole kickback with the leg in the air, which it's not a false start if his leg is still in the air when they snap the ball. That is a league wide thing. Now, if he's actually
Lane
offsides,
Johnson gets
yes,
criticized a lot for that.
yes, that is not a flag. Now, if he's physically jumping early and is 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, whatever it is, he's not actually on the line of scrimmage. That's a different story. Um, and I just think that's the biggest advantage you have on the Chiefs' offensive line, other than maybe Jalen Carter if you line him up over that
Yeah.
their backup guard. Um, the dogs are going crazy. This is ridiculous. Um,
The dogs are going crazy. Jalen
the Georgia
Carter,
dogs, yeah,
Nolan Smith,
they they
book it. Jordan
they
Davis,
are going crazy. Yeah,
Kelly Ringo, they're gonna go crazy. I
that is
feel it.
yeah
I
that
like where
is
your head's at.
that is a matchup I'm looking for. Nolan Smith. I wanted to get the Nolan Super Bowl jersey, but they sold
Ooh,
out immediately. So hopefully I could get that
ooh,
after the Super Bowl.
that'd be cool. I like that. I like that. I mentioned Dallas Goddard on third down. I think that's a theme that'll probably stick around. He was successful against the Chiefs 2 years ago, and we've seen him be successful on third down throughout this postseason. I predict that we'll see that a lot. If the Eagles end up in third down scenarios, I think they'll probably try and stay ahead of schedule. Um, and if we see third down, um, probably hopefully third and short is probably what they're going to be trying to try to game plan for, maybe like a tush push kind of thing. But especially, I think it might be a focus considering that is what the Eagles really struggled with in the last Super Bowl against the Chiefs. That third down conversion. Um, Mentioned Chris Jones, and the O line injuries for the Eagles. I would say Chris Jones might be one of the X factors for this Chiefs defense. Um, like I said, depends where he lines up. Does he line up against the backup or the injured Cam Jurgens or Dickerson? TBD. We'll find out on Sunday. Um, but I mentioned when recapping the NFC Championship games, rookie Quinion Mitchell, no picks during the regular season, 2 picks in 3 games. He's been big along with Zach Bond as far as 14 turnovers. Bond and Quinion are probably going to be the two biggest X factors for me. Um, but it's also hard for me to pick one because, like you said, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter is an obvious one. Cooper DeJean could really have an impact as well, and CJ Gardner Johnson. I really think we're gonna see Vic Fangio use CJ Gardner Johnson in interesting ways. Like I think he's gonna be experimenting with CJ Gardner Johnson all game. I think we'll see CJ Gardner Johnson blitz, you know, the two high safeties, everything like that. My computer battery is low. That sucks. I hate when that happens. I need my charger.
The CJ Gardner Johnson, his energy just matches the importance of this game. Uh,
Yup.
he plays with that same energy every week, and I can only imagine he'll ramp it up for the Super Bowl. Um, that just made me think about these media days where they ask if like the game means more because it's the Super Bowl. You just answered your own question. How
Yeah.
stupid are
Yeah.
you? Of course it means more. It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah. This
Uh,
is the everything's on the line.
I
I
have
don't.
I have so many complaints about the media day. Did you see the thing about that guy like asking the Chiefs players who their favorite official was or something like that?
I didn't see that one.
How do you get
I
invited to
saw.
the media? He's like antagonizing the players. How did that guy get invited to the media day? How? Who are
Yeah.
you? Who are you?
Yeah. I don't know. The media day is always it's been a consistent theme for a few years from Alshon Jeffrey to Marshawn Lynch talking about like
Dude, bring back Marshawn Lynch, man. He had it figured out.
yeah, he understood it. And I saw a little bit of it with Jalen actually. Jalen who usually handles the media. very well. You could tell he's pretty fed up and not,
It's
not getting
just
caught up in the media day stuff.
they're there for an allotted amount of time, and you'd figure it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to ask these players questions. And I don't mind the fun questions here or there that are like it could be like a legitimate like debate or like a fun question, or maybe there's some backstory with a player about something specific you want to ask him about. Cool. Or ask them an actual football question, which is what they're there to discuss.
Yeah,
Instead, they're
yeah,
asking this outlandish bullcrap that literally they have no relevance on and they probably can't comment on anyway, or don't want to comment on it. Period.
yeah.
It's a mess. It's kind of the same thing as the Pro Bowl. It should be better. You started rattling off some X factors. I said Devonte Smith, kind of a zone buster.
Mm.
He'll probably be matched up with Trent McDuffie is my guess because I just don't think I wouldn't waste McDuffie on Brown just because the size mismatch like probably takes away how good McDuffie is. Period.
I agree, but I have a feeling we're gonna see that be the match.
They'll probably mix it up, and I would move around AJB and Smitty anyway. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, he had a big Super Bowl 2 years ago, 7 catches, 110 yards. He's been good against, or 100 yards. He's been good against the Chiefs in his career anyway. Defensive side for the Eagles, going with a little storyline pick. Oren Burks got the playoffs started with the forced fumble against the Packers. The Kobe Dean goes down with injury. He's followed up with 2 really solid performances. And in last year's Super Bowl, when Dre Greenlaw like ruptured his Achilles running onto the field, Burks was like pretty bad in that game. So low redemption for Oren Burks here would be really nice to see. He's been really good in the postseason for the Eagles. Flipping to the other side, a lot of talk about Xavier Worthy. He's just the weapon. He's Weapon X. I know that was Brian Dawkins' nickname. We're talking about the Eagles Chiefs here, but
fair.
X on the Chiefs is he's the weapon for the Chiefs. I don't think you can talk about him anymore. He'll probably have 15 touches in this game if I'm trying to win. If I'm Kansas City, just get your most dynamic player the ball any which way possible. And then I'm gonna go maybe a sleeper pick. Maybe he doesn't play that much. I'm a big Jaden Hicks guy. I think you could see him on Dallas Goddard a lot. You could see him spying the quarterback, coming down in the run game. Rookie safety out of Washington State. He played a decent amount against the Bills. The Chiefs like moving around DBs, getting those versatile players. I think he could be important for Kansas City if Spagnuolo decides to deploy him.
I think just because I forgot to drop my offensive X factor, do also want to throw in I have Mahomes as the obvious X factor and Andy Reid because I think Andy Reid is gonna be
Yeah,
he's the puppet master. Not that that might come off wrong, but he is he's the guy pulling the strings. He knows what he's doing. He's been for. There's a reason he's so highly regarded across the league. And him and Mahomes, that tangent that they have together, I think that is what brings this team together. It runs through the offense, and what they could do in these high intensity situations. So I'd say those two are probably my X factors for offense. Eagles offense, it's really tough for me, but I did mention Goddard. I think he'll be the X factor. Or maybe the X factor is the best tight end on the field.
not
I
this
think
again.
Grant
Not this
Calcaterra,
again.
Super Bowl MVP.
And this dude's betting Grant Calcaterra anytime touchdown. He's gonna win $7,000.
Hey, I'm letting people know. I'm putting people on game. You know,
What should we
Grant
do if Grant
Calcaterra.
Calcaterra scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl? Are we getting a Calc jersey? For the
What's up?
lore.
We'll talk about
SMU Grant Calcaterra jersey.
it. Ooh. You want to know? You want to know something? And we should post this on the Twitter or the Instagram. We should post this on everything because after me on the NFC Championship at the celebration on the field, I am not only on Grant Calcaterra's Instagram, I'm also on SMU football's
Hell yeah.
Instagram.
Danny Mez everywhere all the time.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I might patent that. And you know what? I'll just show the video. Here's me and AJ. Ooh, you can't see
Ooh,
anything.
yeah, no, I cannot see that.
That's me and AJ Brown. You can check my
I just got
Instagram. It's dating.
flashbanged. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's me and Grant
free plug
Calcaterra.
on the IG, I guess.
Yeah, Danny.mez on Instagram. If you look at Grant Calcaterra's Instagram, it's on there too. You could see he collaborated with SMU. I think it's the whole like the school account posted it. SMU football and like SMU alumni, some stuff like that. And it's on Grant Calcaterra's Instagram. I'm on there, and you hear me walk in from the back, and I go, "Yo, Calc." I don't know if you hear the "Yo, Calc," but he daps up one of his teammates. Big hug. He turns around, and I dap him up. Little dap up, and then I go, "Yo, can I get a picture with you?" And that video is on his Instagram, and it's on the SMU Instagram.
Amazing.
So I made it. I made it.
You're
I don't even
basically
need to
best
pod it,
friends.
dude. That's twin. He's on my Instagram. I'm on his Instagram. Like
You're basic.
what
That's qualifies to me.
that's like hard launch kind of.
Oh yeah, no, agreed.
He has no idea.
He probably doesn't even remember.
He has, yeah. I tagged him on my Instagram post, and it's funny because it was liked by like one or two verified accounts. I'm like, who are these accounts? And I click on it, and it's followed by Grant Calcaterra,
That's
but
fire.
he didn't like my post. So I
Oh,
was
come
like,
on, Grant.
are, I'm like, are these your friends or something? I was like, are
That's
these
so
your
funny.
PR people,
That's
or
hilarious.
like what? If I could get a Grant Calcaterra,
He has endless PR.
yeah, you with that mustache? Are you kidding me? That's the greatest PR you could ever have.
I've always
Um,
been it got me this past draft got me thinking really. I wanted the Falcons to draft Romo Dunze. That didn't happen, and he went to Chicago. And
mhm.
since the last thing I will be doing in my life is buying a Chicago Bears jersey, I'm like, I should hop on the wave of buying college players'
Yeah, I remember
jerseys
this
now.
conversation last year.
Yeah, because not only am I not buying a Bears jersey, the Washington Huskies jerseys, fire colorway, by the way.
Yeah, roll Huskies.
Those are gas. So I
Yep.
still have not made that purchase, but with the new NIL stuff, I think that is that is a thing that's very possible. I haven't really looked into it. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but Romo Dunze,
It's really
Huskies jersey,
it
probably
is
on the
pretty
way
easy to
eventually.
get.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think it
Like
would
I
be
was
that
looking
hard.
at Ace Bailey and Ron Harper Jr.
Our
jerseys
NIT
just the
team.
other day because I do want that bad.
And you can do it
Birthday's
when one of
coming
them
up.
gets drafted by the Sixers.
Ooh, you know what? I don't have many college jerseys, but I'll grab one right now.
Gershon Yabusele.
Ooh, Yabu, Yabu Dabu Doo. All right, hold on. Bear with me while I grab this jersey.
Oh, the Harden. Oh,
Yup,
fire. I forgot you had that.
banger, banger. I do want either a Bama or a Sooners Jalen Hurts because I loved watching.
Yeah.
But I have that jersey. I had a couple jerseys. Usually I close my closet. I have it open today. Um, Let me see. I do have a New Jersey Nets jersey in there. Do you guess who on the New Jersey Nets? Whose jersey I have? Hand me down from my dad, who does not watch
Oh
basketball like ever. He
God.
just bought.
Hmm. I have no idea.
You want me to grab it?
Yeah, I honestly have
Let's.
no clue. New Jersey Nets. It's not like Jason Williams, is it? I have no clue. I don't even know if Jason Williams was on the New Jersey Nets.
I also forgot I have a Michael Jordan All Star game in San Antonio jersey. That one's sick too. This is the one and only Richard
Richard
Jefferson.
Jefferson. Oh my
Hand me
God.
down from my dad.
That's
And
hilarious.
he had two basketball jerseys ever in his life. And he never even really watched basketball like that. Richard Jefferson was the one because it was the Jersey team from Jersey. Um, and he has one other jersey. Can you guess who it is? Think 90s.
I like wouldn't even be able to pull a name. I have no idea.
The only other jersey, which he lost, he has no idea where this jersey is because he was like, "I didn't give it to you," and I was like, "I would have remembered if you gave me this jersey."
Rip
He
Hamilton just
has,
popped in my head.
oh, not it, but that would have been insane. A Reggie Miller jersey.
Ooh, the the
That would have been
the
Pacers Reggie
choke,
Miller jersey
the
would have
choke.
been great for the closet. I gotta say.
Yeah, that would have been.
Um, Let me put this back up. I got a little distracted. That's totally on me. I need to close my
We're
closet
just
before.
we're just building up the anticipation for our predictions, even though I think everyone knows what the prediction is at this point.
Yeah, it's like who do you think I have winning this game? Who do you think?
Darn
Who can?
man. Hmm.
Ah, hmm.
The Antichrist or the Philadelphia Eagles?
True. Everything's green. It's all green. You want Tic Tac? It's green.
You want
Winter
TikTok?
green. Kelly green. Midnight green. Other greens. I don't know. But I got two pennants in here. I have Super Bowl 52 pennant when they won against the Patriots, and I did get a pennant for Christmas from the Philadelphia Eagles
Oh
with
yeah,
my name on
big,
it.
big
Um, I'm
money
just it's like
moves.
show, it's just show and tell right here. Hold
Yeah, it
on,
really is.
it's getting to a point. Oh yeah, we're back. We're back, and we're showing off. It's show and tell.
Oh hell yeah,
Dang,
fire.
merch staff. It's got my name on it. It's pretty cool. I gotta hang it up somewhere. And then I got this as well.
That is legendary piece of merchandise.
It's awesome. So I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this Sunday, 30-24.
I
Excuse me.
not that we've been jumping around, but since we just had a little show and tell session, um, I'm gonna get a little more depth behind my pick. My keys to the
Yep.
game, we mentioned it. It was super important. Controlling the game. I'm talking time of possession. I'm talking length
Yeah.
of possession. I'm talking turnovers. That's super important. Eagles have been really good at forcing turnovers and not giving the ball away. The Chiefs have been just safe with the ball. Nothing, too super detrimental, but they also haven't really gotten turnovers back. Um, Special teams was bad to the Eagles in the last Super Bowl, mainly just because of the punt return. Jake Elliott's been rough in the postseason and this whole season in general. The new dynamic kickoff, the Eagles have forced more than a few fumbles in the postseason on that. You'll see more kick returns on that as well from the Chiefs. Remigio, I'm talking about this guy. He's actually been pretty good in the postseason. I'd be scared of him as a return man if I'm the Eagles after what happened with Kadarius Toney 2 years ago. And then timely plays. Do you get the Chiefs to 3rd and 11 and get a stop, or does Patrick Mahomes convert? Do you get an interception? Do you get a forced fumble? Stuff like that. Do you rip a 25-yard run? Not the as important as controlling the game is. You still need the big wow. You still need the winning plays. Um, I just kind of described how to win a basic football game. Uh, but I think these things will be overemphasized, especially based
In
on
this
the
particular
yeah,
match.
based on how it played out last time these teams met. That being said, I think both these defenses are better than last time. I think the Chiefs are slightly worse than last time, and I think the Eagles as a whole are better than last time.
A lot better.
Give me the
You gotta
Eagles
say.
27-21 um,
I like it.
in the Superdome. Uh, yeah, I'm excited, and if they lose, I'll be severely disappointed. And I also talked to you about this before the show. I think if they win, I'm gonna shave my head. I'm getting a haircut next week anyway. If they win, I'm pulling up and saying, "Take it. We. Oh, I messed up. We gotta go bald. It's coming off. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl,
If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I will not be shaving anything. I'll shave. I'll shave nothing. I'm not shaving. I'll shave like my neck. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I'm not shaving nothing,
It's
but
just
I will cry if they lose.
Yeah, no, agreed. I might cry if they lose. I'm not entirely sure, depending on how
If
they lose.
if they
Um,
win, you gotta come through.
that
Hypothetically,
that might be possible. We shall see. Um,
see,
my
I'm
cousin, when my cousin was younger, and I was
uh
obviously
huh.
younger, he would get like an army shave, like not bald, but like little peach fuzz. So I just copied
Yeah,
him for so many years of my life. I think that picture you have saved on your Snapchat, my head is shaved. I swear to God.
it's
From like
short. It's real short.
the
From
beginning of
like
high school,
freshman year
yeah.
of high school.
I think it's really
Yeah.
short. That's like towards the end of when I stopped shaving my head. So I texted him. I said, I think if the Eagles win, I'm just gonna shave my head. And he goes, I'd rip a winter arc with you.
Mm,
So that might be on the
I like.
table. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, lot lot of what ifs. I don't want to get ahead of myself. There's a huge game. There's a huge what if that leads up to any celebrating. That is
Yeah,
winning.
absolutely.
Um, so I would love to see you in Philly, but more than anything, I'd love to see Philly show out on Sunday. Need to see it. Um, and then probably just gonna wrap this video up with a quick mention of the Luka Doncic Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah, I just wow, really. I think the thing that shocks me here is I want to call it incompetence by the Mavs GM. Um, and it's so funny too because last year everyone was praising him for the moves he made at the deadline to get them to the
Mm-hmm.
finals. And now you're just like, oh, we don't want to give a super max to a top three player in the
I
world
was gonna say top three. I like that
because he's slightly overweight, maybe. This
because he's fat
Pillsbury
and
Doughboy
lazy.
just got you to the NBA Finals. What are you
Yeah,
complaining
he,
about?
he's. I don't know. I don't want to jump the gun and call it Anthony Davis. I think this trade, just because of the context behind it, is gonna really hurt Anthony Davis' career because a lot of people are disrespecting his actual value.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
agree 100%.
and Anthony Davis is still an amazing player. That's still a great pickup. That's a guy you want. But I think his legacy will be tainted by this trade because people outlook on it is, you know, what what are the Mavericks doing? And or Kyrie and AD could go crazy and win a championship. Things can change, things can happen. My overall reflection of it is Adam Silver sees that the NFL season's coming to a close. Ratings are down and rent is due. Let's get something going because I'll tell you one thing. Howard Stern would have vetoed that. He would not have let that trade go.
Howard Stern is
I
a
tell you,
radio show host.
what'd you say?
Howard Stern
Howard
is a.
Stern. Oh my God, David Stern. What's his name?
Yes, David Stern.
Oh my God, Howard Stern is the with the hair, with the hair.
Yes.
David Stern. Wow, I got my Sterns mixed
Oh
up.
my
Yeah,
god.
David Stern
Rutgers
would have not let
alumni,
that trade
David
through.
Stern. You're speaking ill on his name.
What'd you say?
Rutgers alumni, David Stern.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know he was a Rutgers guy.
That is so funny. I think my last point on it, I agree. I'm echoing you here. I think in a vacuum, from a team building perspective, it doesn't not make sense for the Mavericks. That's a sick double negative. Just read into that really hard and you'll understand. Like
It
pure
doesn't not make sense. So it does make sense, but it doesn't. But it does.
it doesn't not make sense. Like there's a world where the structure of the Mavericks roster works and is better because Luka's not on the team. However, I can't say that the move makes sense. I will not allow myself to say that it made sense. So that's why I'm using a double negative.
I don't love it. I don't hate it. But I'll tell you one thing.
Also, Max
Howie
Christie had a good
Roseman,
game the other night.
he did. He did. Sixers go Sixers.
No, you need them
Embiid
to
also made
lose.
a.
You need them to lose. They need Ace Bailey. They need Dylan Harper.
Come on. No comment on what you said. I would like it. I would like one of the. I would love a Rutgers alumni for the Sixers.
Yeah, that would be
But
fire.
before that, yeah, trade talks with Embiid. Not trade talks with Embiid. He joked about there being why he performed well and came back, and he was like, "I was scared of getting traded." There's a quote from Howie Roseman. This is the original. Howie Roseman said, "To make like a championship team, you have to do something or like gamble with your job. You have to make a decision that'll get you fired. Like it'll either work. It'll either win you a championship or get you fired. So
True.
that's why I'm not too quick to rule out Dallas succeeding with AD and Kyrie because this is a huge gamble, but if it pays off, people are gonna look at him like a master. Now, do I think that'll happen? No, but it's it, being GM is an interesting job, and I'd
Yeah.
be intrigued to see how that. That's all I
Yeah.
gotta say about.
Just being put simply, the build of the team can work, but when you look, in the scope of being a GM and the future of the league, you got one first round pick for a top 3 player in the world. Like,
Yeah,
not great. Also, you just went to the NBA Finals with that exact team anyway. So,
and Clippers I think gave up more for
oh
Paul
yeah, oh
George,
yeah, not
a
even
lot more.
close. I think
Uh,
even just Shea for Paul George swap, and it's still bad.
OKC dynasty might be, but that is for another week. When it's not Super Bowl week, it's been an amazing episode. It's been a long one, longer than I anticipated, about an hour and a half. This
You know
is
what?
a
Yeah, you know what's funny actually? This just barely eclipses our longest episodes because our longest episodes are like an hour and 26 or an hour and 27 currently.
wow,
Do you want to talk about
wow.
De'Aaron Fox real quick?
You're trying to go for the record?
Yeah, I mean, we could hit
We're
we could
already
hit
we're already here.
130. We could hit
We're
130.
already here. Okay, Saquon, you need 30 more.
um, I just think it's nice Wemby gets a co-star so early in his career. And the
Mm-hmm.
Spurs aren't really, not no hesitation necessarily to get it done. They also really didn't give up anything at all, in my opinion.
Yeah,
You're moving some picks,
a
but
good
it's
trade.
De'Aaron Fox, and you're already like your pick already isn't going to be great. Like you could still make the playoffs in the West this year. So
I think
I don't think those
I
picks
think
should
the
be
league
done.
should be scared if they
You definitely need
should.
some more. You definitely need some improved pieces around them. I think this year they have enough around them to get in the play in, and I mean, say what you want. Could a top 2 seed lose to the Spurs in the first round? Probably not, but it is Wembenyama. You never know.
I
Um,
don't know. If a top two team is the Mavericks, I think Mavericks could lose to the Spurs.
yeah, it is interesting to
Da-
see. It'd be what like
dare I say?
yeah, who would it be? It'd be okay. Like is OKC losing to the Spurs? No.
No, no. Like I said, I think the OKC dynasty
Yeah.
is a ticking time.
So yeah, it was a kind of a weird trade as a whole, but I don't really care about anything else that happened in the trade. To be completely honest with you, um, De'Aaron
Yeah,
Fox is a Spur. Uh, John Calipari guards succeeding in the NBA. What's new?
yeah.
Um, Speaking of John Calipari and speaking about basketball, we will be touching on college basketball eventually. Um,
One day.
yeah, March Madness approaching rapidly. We're here in February, um, getting closer to the conference tournaments. Um, so that we'll have that coming up. We'll have like a season Super Bowl recap episode coming up. We'll do draft stuff. I think we have some fun games we could do with draft stuff. We could do a mock episode. We could do breaking down film of a player, one episode or something if I can get my hands on some all 22 footage somewhere. I don't know how much is on YouTube, but we could look into some prospects and stuff like that. Um, and then yeah, just more more like out there stuff, like speculative stuff, rankings, just more fun episodes and like purely recaps and breakdowns and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for that. We just crossed an hour 30.
Sweet. Speaking of rankings, I got one this week.
Oh, Oh wait, what was our
I
ranking last week
completely
supposed to
forgot
be?
the one from last week.
Oh, I didn't even make a list. I didn't even think
Yeah,
about it.
I didn't either. I completely forgot. But we can't forget about this one because I have a fun one for this week. My ranking that we'll post. I think we should post on Monday or Tuesday or something. Depends if I wake up on
Yeah,
Monday.
I'll find the
We'll find
graphic
out.
maybe.
I say we make our top 5 Super Bowl halftime.
I wasn't alive for a lot of them, so that's like 2000 on probably, right?
I was well, we're the same age.
Well, yeah. I'm just
But
saying in
I mean,
general.
I've seen like I don't know. I've seen some YouTube
Yeah,
videos and stuff, so I can. It's up to you.
I'm
You do
not
it
too
to
I'm
your
not too
discretion.
well versed. I might handicap myself and say like since whatever year.
You're gonna
Um,
pick the Macklemore one, or
I'm gonna be geeked out for the halftime show. I'm gonna be completely
I
honest.
I am too. I'm gonna be geeked out all of Sunday. I'm geeked out now. Every
If
day I wake up and I'm just like, oh my god,
if I
it's
hear
crazy.
if I hear even a singular note of those trumpets, I'm jumping through the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah.
The roof no
That's gonna
longer
be
exists.
insane. Yep, you're playing an outdoor game now in the Super Bowl. Um, yeah, that's gonna be awesome, and
We'll be here to recap it for sure.
we will, we will. So that's gonna do it. Um, wait, I gotta rewind. I'll do the whole speech again. We're gonna wrap it up here officially, for real this time. Go Birds, go Temple Owls, go Rutgers Scarlet Knights. We're getting a Grant Calcaterra touchdown on this Sunday.
And give me a
Hopefully,
Moro Jomo sack. Locks of the week with Danny and
bang.
Ryan.
There we go. This has been bracket coverage. We'll see you next week.
Signing off.
Bang.